friends, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Michaela, but all of my friends call me Mac, which is why the channel name is Stitching with Mac. Today I am going to bring you my mid-year WIP parade. I've been away for a few months, so I figured it would be good to come back and just do like a checkup or like a check-in on where my WIPs are at. I'm sorry if you can hear the litter box right now. Just part of having cats, I guess. So I've been stitching pretty regularly since I have been gone. I think my last update was in January or so, but life got a little crazy around there. Late February, early March, my husband and I came to Idaho to look for housing, jobs, have job interviews and all that. April we spent doing last minute wedding plans and packing for our move, and then early May I had my last day at my last job. He graduated from optometry school. We got married on May the 10th, and then May the 11th we packed up our apartment, and May the 13th we left Tennessee to drive to Idaho, which took us about 3 days, but we got here on the 15th, so it's been a good almost 3.5, almost 4 weeks, and we love it here. So if you are in the Treasure Valley and want to say hey, just leave me a comment. I would love to get together with people that live here and maybe have a little stitching date or whatever. So that is where I've been, but I've still been stitching, so you're gonna see some progress. I currently have 22-ish, I think it's 22 projects, I'll count it. I think it's 22 in progress, and that sounds like a lot, and to me it kind of is, but I've also seen people who have upwards of 50 to 100. So, I mean, it's just whatever works for you and whatever works for your brain. So yeah, I like my 22 that I have just so that I have something for like the mood that I'm in, or if I want to stitch on something bigger, more like full coverage, I can, or if I want to stitch on a small, I can do that. So that is why I have so many. And I've also been in the mood to start like literally everything, so I am trying to prevent myself from doing that by changing up my rotation style. So if you've followed for a while, I have been doing the work on 7 projects for 4 days and then a new start every single month since like last year. I am now kind of leaning more toward focusing on some of my older WIPs, because I have 3 projects that are from 2023, which is around the time I started, just kidding, I started cross-stitching in 2022. So 2023 I really got into it, started some really big ones, and then haven't really done anything since then. Like, haven't done anything in a sense of like haven't pushed through to finish them, just because I started watching Flosstube in 2024 and started this channel, so like I started doing all the things that I saw on videos from people, and I was very easily influenced, but that's okay too. But yeah, we're gonna go through everything. Basically, the gist of this video, if you're brand new, WIP stands for work in progress. So we're gonna go through each WIP. I'm gonna tell you who the designer was, floss I'm using, fabric, when I started it, how far along I am, and what I think I'm gonna do going forward. So grab a drink, you're stitching, and let's jump in. Okie dokie. I don't remember what order that I showed these in last time. Oh, I have my notebook. I wrote them down in for my last video. All right, here we go. This one I'm gonna have to take out of the hoop real quick. What's wrong, Bean? You might hear my cats. This one I am currently working on. This is my oldest WIP. This is Winter Cabin by Dimensions. I love this thing so much. I started this one April of 2023, so this is my oldest baby. I'm not sure if I said that yet. This is stitched on light blue 16 count Aida from Dimensions, and this is what it's looking like. I feel like I'm covering up some of it up here as well. Here we go. I'll try to put a picture up of where I was my last WIP parade, like my beginning of the year. So 16 count blue Aida using all of the floss provided in the kit. I am working towards this, like over here in this piece here, because this will be 75% of the project. That's another thing that I've been trying to do rotation wise, is if I do bring out a project to work on it to its next milestone percentage. And milestone percentage for me is like 25, 50, 75 and finished. So for a project like this, that could be a long time with it being out. But again, this is my oldest WIP, so I am okay with it. But yeah, this is one of the ones that I want to focus on and bring out more often, which it had been my focus piece at the beginning of the year and some last year, and I just kind of fell off on being focused with it because I kind of got burnt out. But yeah, we'll bring her back out again and hopefully try to finish it up. Sorry about all of my hanging parked threads there, but we are so close to a finish. There's just an astronomical amount of backstitch on this side of the project, so that could take me a bit of time once I finish the stitching. So yeah, oldest WIP, WIP number 1, Winter Cabin by Dimensions. We're gonna do a little side note real quick. This one is one that I won't really count, like I don't count it in my WIP count because I don't work on it all the time, and it is a situational kind of project. I'll put a picture in of what it is. It is Death by Cross Stitch by Long Dog Samplers. I want to say I started this February-ish of this year. I got the inspiration for this from Marjorie Maid. She does like a tail ends type stitch. But the way that I'm using it is more of like a catalog stitch. So I will take, like this is all of the floss from projects that I've finished recently, and I will just take one strand of all of these colors and work them into this project, and it kind of creates a really weird, colorful project, which I really like. I'm stitching this on 25 count Easy Grid 2/110 stitch, and this has about 2,500 stitches in it, and all the colors that are in there right now are from one project. So I put 2,500 stitches in from one project with the leftover floss, which is one strand of each leftover. So this could probably have some really good progress on it if I work in these 3 projects worth of extras right now, but this is not something I'm super worried about. But there she is. It's gonna be a really weird, colorful one in the end. Plus I bought this easy count, this 25 count, for a full coverage project that I ended up DNFing because I discovered that I don't like really large full coverage projects. So like Heaven and Earth designs or things like that. I am not a fan of like realistic looking full coverage, if that makes sense. So I needed to use this piece of fabric somehow. So that one doesn't really count as a WIP. I don't count it for anything, but it is a project. Okay. So WIP number 2. Is Japanese Garden by Dimensions. I started this July 1st, 2023. This is another one that's going to hit its 2nd birthday before I can finish it. This one is, okay, okay, I can hold it this way. Find a picture of before. And this is after. This is stitched on 16 count light blue Aida from Dimensions came in the kit, using all the floss that came in the kit as well. I have finished the tops of the trees on this right side, and finally, I thought I was gonna never get out of these pinks. It took forever. So I started to work my way down the trunks there and kind of more into the greenery of the picture, which is excellent. It is honestly such a good change of pace for this project. But my goal is, let's see if I can find, I don't know if the line is still on here. I did have pencil lines on this project and I soaked it and the lines came out, thankfully. I'm not sure where this center line is anymore. Let's see. So this, wait, let's fold it up. This part right here is the center line on this page. So we're probably another 3-ish thousand stitches off from the 25% mark on this project. And I did start doing some of the back stitch as I went up here. I'm gonna try to do some more after I finish the top part, but I think I'm gonna bring this one out a lot more once I finish Winter Cabin. But another personal favorite. I feel like everyone has stitched this, but it is a classic and it's so pretty. All right, so project number 2. Honestly, I will say washing your fabric, like if you get crunchy Aida from kits or whatever, if you wash it, it makes it so much better. It is so much easier to work with, kind of like hand dyed fabric. They obviously wash it and it's like really nice and pliable. Okay, project number 3. This was supposed to be my New Year, New Start for January 2024, but I got too anxious or too excited and I started it on December 30th of 2023. I will put a picture in of the finished product. This is the Haunted Library by Lola Crow Cross Stitch. I will try to find a picture of what it looked like in my last WIP parade. I'm 95% positive that I have worked on this since then. This is stitched on a 36 count vintage country mocha 2/2 using all of the called for DMC. And here she is. I'm pretty sure when I worked on this last, I got it to the 50% mark. So I just have the bottom half to go now. But she is a beauty. And I am obsessed with everything that Lola Crow puts out. So I think once this one is done, I might move on to the Greenhouse of Oddities. Is that what it's called? I think it's the Greenhouse of Oddities. I'm not a big fan of like aquarium situations. So the aquarium one, like I don't really like fish like that, so I'm cool with that. And then she has one out now that is the Extraordinary Birds. I also don't really like birds like that, so I think we're gonna do this one and the greenhouse. I think that'll fit the vibe of my house decorations and things like that. So yeah, 50% now on Haunted Library. One of these days I'll finish it. It actually stitches up so fast when you work on it because all the colors are kind of a block, which is nice. Okay, who is next? So the next one that I showed you, I'll put a picture of where it was. This is Coffee Shop by Dimensions. And since then, I've finished it. And here she is. I decided to not stitch the French knots because that was like almost 300 French knots and I didn't want to do all that. But this is stitched on white 18 count Aida provided in the kit, and I'm using the kit floss for this as well. I pretty sure that I just like sent it. Like I was like, you know what, I'm tired of this one not being done, and I was just like, we're gonna send it, we're gonna finish it. And I spent a little extra time on it and ended up finishing it out. It just needs to be washed. I need to cut this felt off and frame it. What are you doing, Bean? One of my cats is like right here. Yeah. My little baby. He had to go to the vet yesterday. We're trying to get his neutering surgery done, but he has a heart problem and they can't do it without us going to see a cardiologist. So he's a giant problem. He's alright. But he's my problem. So anyway, this one was a finish. Love her. Okay. Project number, what is that? 1, 2, 3. I guess this is project number 4 that I have that's active currently. This one is A Quilter's Dream by Modern Folk Embroidery. I am not doing it in this colorway. I have swapped out both colors for pink. So it is pink on pink, but it's stitched on like a light colored fabric. I'm stitching this on 36 count oat from Stitch Me, 1/2. I want to say this is at its, oh, just kidding, it's not. Maybe it is. It could be at its 25% mark or close at least. So here she is. I'll just put a picture up if I have worked on it. I think I have. I'm not sure, but there she is. Isn't she beautiful? Something about this is so just tranquil and like calming when I work on it. I'll tell you the colors that I used. Let's see. I am using DMC 38, just kidding, 3688 and 778. So those two pinks. It is super fun to work on. When did I start this? I started this January 28th, 2024. Okay, next up, this is project number 5. I started this project on February 22nd, 2024. This is Bayside Cottage. It is a Dimensions Petite Gold collection. I'm stitching this on 18 count white Aida using the provided floss and fabric. I am pretty sure I worked on this since the last time you saw it, so I'll put a picture up. But here she is now. I am currently close to 75% done on this. I just need to finish this quadrant here and then the back stitch. I think parts of it here and then mostly here as well. But this could do like one more rotation and it would be done. I need to wash it again to try to get the lines out of up here. But yet another one that could be a quick finish. Project number 6. Find the finished product. This is the Haunted Mansion from Tiny Modernist. This was a stitch along back in I think 2018, and I have the pattern in stitch along format. But this is what it will look like at the very end. Very cutesy. My favorite area is the scientists. I am a scientist, so that kind of speaks to me. I am stitching this on 18 count resolution from Forbidden Fiber Company, 2/1. And here we are. I think I've worked on this. I've added in the middle, like this purple here, built out these rooms and started in on the library there. This is actually a lot of stitching. It's a very hefty boy, but it's fun when you want to work on something like that. I think my next goal on this is to finish out what they call the house. So all the stuff on the outside, like the grass, the trees, things like that, and then build out the other rooms. Just so I can come in and do like super quick room stitching and get like a finish type thing. So yeah, there's that. I love her. Maybe we'll bring her out again soon. Although a lot of times, like, if I stitch based on what I want to stitch on, I don't bring things out for a really long time. So that's kind of why I do the wheel, because I just stitch what the wheel says. I don't know. I do like the wheel, but I also want to finish my older projects. So maybe one of these days we'll go back to the wheel again. Okie dokie. Next up, project number 7. I started, oh, I'm just kidding, I forgot to tell you when I started Haunted Mansion. That was April 20th, 2024. I started this project on July 10th, 2024. This is, where is it? Playful Snowman Ornaments by Dimensions. This is a, I guess you can call this a large gold collection. So I currently have 3 large dimension gold collections going right now. I have finished the snowman in the middle. I finished the stitching on this one, and then I'm pretty sure I started this one. These are stitched on 18 count ivory Aida using the kit floss. Move my thread, sorry. So there is the one that I finished fully with backstitch and everything. This is the one that I'm currently working on the cross stitches. And then this one here, I need to finish the backstitch on, and it will be fully finished. So we are heading close to the 50% mark on these. So 3 ornaments would be 50%. So that'll be my next goal when I bring this out again. And these are actually really fun to stitch on. There's like a little bit of block stitching in some of them, but otherwise it's kind of challenging, and you actually have to pay attention and look where you're going and figure out how you want to go about doing things. Okay. Move my paper around a bit. Okie doke. Project number 8. I think I've worked on this one since I talked to you guys last. This one is Castle by Cottage Garden Samplings. I am stitching this on 20 count lunar from Bestitch Me 1/1 full cross. Now it is going to be difficult to see the white on this because the white in this project is 3865, so it's like a warm white. It probably should have been B5200 on this fabric, but you can see it in real life. So this is where we are. I'm pretty sure I hit over the 25% mark, so I'm leaning more towards probably like 35, close to 40%, but next time I bring it out, I'm going for the 50% mark. But I learned to do a pin stitch with this project, and my life has changed forever since then. I absolutely love doing a pin stitch. It's so easy. So there she is. Another one that I could finish if I just spent some time on it. Ouch. Since I talked to you guys last, I got a new job, and it is more of a busy type situation, so I will be busy at work all of the time. The only time I'm not busy would be on my breaks and my lunch break, so it might be a situation where I pick one project that's smaller that I would take with me to work and work on my breaks or my lunch break. But once I'm done training on day shift, I think I'm on day shift for the next month or so. Once I'm done there, I am moving to night shift where I do 8 days on, 6 days off. So I'll get lots of stitching time in my 6 days off. And everyone I talk to, they're like, why would you want to work 8 night shifts in a row? And I was like, because I get 6 days off. And like night shift doesn't really bother me. Like once I get used to it, we're good to go. I just eat my snacks, drink my water, and sleep during the day. Okay, project number 9. We're getting there. So project number 9 is Introverted by Silver Creek Samplers. I am unsure if I worked on this, but if I did, I'll put a picture up for you. I'm stitching this on 36 count Winter Sparrow from Forbidden Fiber Co. It's kind of like a reddish tan color. And this doesn't look like the picture because I am doing a conversion, and it's kind of an all over the place conversion. Most of it's Roxy Flosco, and some of it's Classic Colorworks, some of it's Weeks, some of it's DMC. So if you really want to know the conversion, you can send me an email or send me a message on Instagram and I will get back to you on it. But here she is. This is 2/2 on 36 count. I want to say I'm close to the 25% mark on this. Let's look at the pattern. Yes, I am 25% mark so far, really close to the 50% mark. I just need to finish the bottom on this side. This was ironed at one point because I did film this video before and I did not like the way it turned out. But anyway, here she is. I need to finish out the thimble. I think I need to pick like a gray color for that, but one of these days. So yeah. Next milestone on that would be 50%. And one of these days, maybe I'll get to doing all of my projects in Pattern Keeper or Markup RXP, but I don't know, sometimes I'm a paper pattern girl. There's something about marking it off that does it for me. So I know for sure this one will have some progress because I was working on this towards the end of May. This is, let me see who it's by. This is Sampler Mosaic Squares by Stitch Mom Studio on Etsy, and the way that this paper looks is not the way that the pattern looks. So you would expect the first square to be this one, but it's actually this one, and it goes this way. But it goes like, it's like this is all like transferred. So like any way you turn this, it doesn't really make sense on how it would go. So, unless I'm doing it backwards, but who knows. Anyway, I'm stitching this on a white 40 count Verdal 1/1. Well, no, 1/2, just kidding. 1/1 would be crazy. 1/2 full cross. This is a digital pattern and I did not charge my iPad to tell you what the percentage was. I'm thinking it's close to the 4-ish% mark. Here she is. I love to work on this because it's like big blocks of color sometimes. Sometimes it's not. So it's not repetitive and boring. And it's also just beautiful. As far as milestone stitching for this goes, if I were to work this project to the 25% mark, it would take me a million years. Like I think I calculated it and it was like 47 days if I stitch at the rate that I normally stitch at. That's a long time to spend on a project. So any of these projects that are super big like this, I think for me the milestone stitch would be like the next 10%. So if this is at 4%, I would just work on it until it's at 10% and then put it away and start something else or work on something else. But there's only like 7 colors in this, so This is a favorite of mine. I just don't work on it as often as I should. But I think there's close to 80,000 stitches or 90,000 stitches on that thing. It's a big girl. Okay. The next project that was in my last WIP parade was Holiday Home from Dimensions. I'll put a picture of where it was last time. And I ended up finishing this in March. I had to shorten the name there in the middle because mine and my husband's name would not fit there because it's too long. But I finished this up, I think, while I was in Boise in March. So I think I want to make this into like a flat fold. I think that would be really cute. But yeah, a finish. So I've had at least 2 finishes since my last WIP parade. All right, next up, project number 12, I think. This one is, what is this by? This is by Tinsel Cross Stitch on Etsy. This is a sampler, just kidding, Diamond Quaker. This is the mock-up photo. I am stitching this on white 40 count Verdal 1/2. I don't think I've worked on this since I showed it last. Here she is. I'm pretty sure there's a miscount over here. And this is not the kind of pattern that you can just fudge because it's so symmetrical. So I was gonna try to do the outline starting over here next time to see if it would meet correctly, and then if it doesn't, figure out where the mistake is and go from there. But again, this is another one that I think I would just bring to the next percentage point instead of doing like 25, 50, 75 because it is so large. It's not as big as Sampler Mosaic Squares, the blue and tan one, but it's still a pretty hefty girl. So yeah, next plan of business is to see if I can get these borders to meet somewhere. If not, then I don't know. I don't want to restart it because this is a lot of stitches and this took a lot of time, but at the same time it's like, what can you do? All right, let me tell you when I started those last few. The castle was started July 15th. Introverted was started August 16th, 2024. Sampler Mosaic Squares was started August 23rd of 2024. Holiday Home was started September 1st. So last year in September, I did start September where I started 6 or 7 projects. Diamond Quaker was started on the 6th of December, no, 6th of September. All right, and then our next September start on September 11th, I started yet another Dimensions Gold Collection. So this is my 4th big one. This is European Beastro, and I absolutely love this project so much. This is stitched on 16 count light blue Ada, and I'm using provided floss and all of that. And here she is. I can't remember if I worked on this. If I have, I'll put a picture in. But I'm doing backstitch as I go on this just because it is a backstitch heavy project. But I love her so much. I'm close-ish. So the line, this blue line, let me see if I can fold this. This blue line here is the 25% mark. So we're not far off from that. But we'll bring her out eventually too. This is my backstitch thread. But it's just so pretty. I love it. So the next project that I have, I started September 16th, 2024. This one is Luke and Princess Leia. This is what it'll look like. It's just a Dimensions regular collection, not a gold or anything. This is stitched on 14 count black Ada. I'm pretty sure I worked on this since the last time I talked to you guys, and here we are. So I'm pretty much finished on this side except for the Star Wars words, and then I've done most of the stuff here except a little bit of half stitches down here and the words. I think I've got some back stitching to do as well, but we have the entire top half of this to do. But otherwise it's pretty fun. The blues on the black just pop. So I think next time I bring this out, I'm gonna fully finish the bottom half at least, and maybe move on to the top half. The next one is Summer Oak by Mill Hill. I'll put a picture of where it was at the last time you guys saw it. And here it is now. It is a fully finish. This is on 14 count tan Ada provided in the kit. I used the kit floss, which I believe was DMC, and then the beads were from Mill Hill. The frame is, I believe, from Amazon, just a 4-pack of 6x6 wooden frames. And I mounted this onto foam core with some batting and kind of laced it / sticky, double-sided sticky taped it. And then I just have craft paper on the back. But she is a beauty. So, stop it. So once I get them all framed, I'll display them in my house during the season. So I think that's the final finish that I've had since then. I've had 3 finishes since January, which is kind of crazy. Or December, something like that. I started that project on September 21st of 2024. Alright, next up, I have a love-hate relationship with this project. I love it. I love the design, but the stitching kind of sucks. Part of the pattern, this dark blue on the pattern, calls for 5/1, and the way that my fingers hurt. This is it. This is Snowman and Friends stocking. This is a Dimensions gold collection, so that is now 5 Dimensions gold collections that I have started. This is stitched on 18 count white Ada using provided kit floss and fabric. And let's show you, I have not worked on this since you saw it last, I don't think. And here she is. So this dark blue that I have on my needle is 5/1. So I tend to do like a full length of the dark blue and then move to something that's not. So like down here in the Snowman, or these really long lines up at the top, just so it doesn't hurt my fingers as much. But there she is. I'm stitching this for my husband, so this will be his stocking. I mean, it's very pretty otherwise. It's just that blue is really killing me. And it could be because I washed this fabric and it may have shrunk a bit, but it had a stain on it, so I wanted to get the stain off. I started that, I don't know if I told you when I started this, September 26th. The pile of WIPs I have back here. All right, so next WIP, I don't even know which one this is anymore. $14? I don't know. I don't think so. $15? No. $16. This is Lord of the Rings bookshelf by Taylor and Cromwell from Etsy. I want to say I put some progress into this since you guys have seen it last. I'll put the picture up if I have. This is stitched on 28 count Spellbound by Forbidden Fiber Co. Using all the called for DMC This is I would say, very complicated project. It's got a lot of fractional stitches, fractional backstitch, and things of that nature, but also a beauty. I think when I bring this out next time, I want to finish the hobbit hole and this sign that says no admittance except on party business. I'm stitching this for my friend Andrew, who absolutely loves Lord of the Rings. So he'll get this one of these days. So there we are. I honestly could not tell you a percentage point on that. The pattern is like, I don't know, 14 pages. But it has, let's pull the floss out, an absolutely astronomical amount of floss. But it's pretty. I'm also working on I don't know if you guys do crochet, like the little figures. I cannot pronounce the word, so I won't butcher it. But the Woobles came out with the Lord of the Rings, and he wanted them, and I know how to crochet, so he sent them to me. And also we'll get them one of these days. But those go a lot faster than cross stitch, so maybe sooner rather than later. Okay, I started that project October 18th, 2024. This project I started November 29th, 2024 for Nora November. This is Willow Queen by Nora Corbett. Absolutely beautiful. I am stitching this on 32 count Illusion by Mystic Fabrics. I went to Cincinnati, Ohio in November, so I kitted up this entire project at Keepsakes while I was there. And here she is. I'll put a picture of where she was last time. She looks finished, but she's not. I'm still working on the beading. I've done the beading in her hair and around her chest, but still the rest to go in her bodice and dress and the vines that she has. But otherwise, the beading is going well. So my next milestone on her would be to finish the beading and get her done with. So again, could be something I could do very quickly, but beading to me is a very slow kind of thing. I don't like to do beading very fast because I don't like to pull a lot of thread because I'm using invisible thread for it. It gets tangled really easy, so I just do a really short length for that. Okie dokie. Next up, this project was started December 16th, 2024. Let's see if I can find a picture. This is the steps, or the peaks. The steps is what it's called. That's what it looks like. It's just some mountains reflected into a little lake. It is Loops and Threads, which is a Michaels brand. This is something. 18 count Ada. Doesn't say. Does it say here? It does not. It looks to be 16 count actually. So anyway, this is 16 count white Ada that was provided in the kit. I'm using kit floss as well. I did pull this out and do a 25%. So I am 25% done with this project. Next go around would be to do this other half over here and get it to the halfway point. But would be a quick finish otherwise. Okay, we've got 4 more projects. This project is Hiking Gnome. I started this January 5th, 2025. And this is what he looks like. I do have the other 3 of these, and when I finish them, I'm going to send them to my mother-in-law because she loves gnomes. This is stitched on 28 count, like blue linen situation from WIP. And here he is. I have hit the 50% mark on him, so the top half is done. I just need to do the bottom half. But he's cute. Very easy stitch. So next bring out will be probably the 75% mark. Okie-doke. This project was started sometime in February, towards the end of February, I think. This is another just regular dimensions kit. This is Frederick the Literate. I love books and I love cats, so this was very fitting. This is stitched on 14 count black Ada. And this is where I got to in February when I started it. This is the top left corner of the project. So I think this line here is the halfway point. So once I finish, this part will be at 25%. So that's my next goal when I bring it out again. But otherwise, very fun to do. There's some like metallic blends and things like that, which is something I haven't done yet, but very fun. Alright, the next 2 projects I have started since I have moved to Idaho. So this project I started last week of May, I believe. This is Summer Quaker by Leia Studios, and I am in love with this project. I am stitching this on 18 count putty from Forbidden Fiber Co. using all the called for DMC. This is stitched 1/1, and I got the first page done. And she is gorgeous, and I love her so much, and I cannot wait to work on her again. I love this project so much. Have I said that? But yeah, anyway, it's so fun to stitch, so easy. Each little motif feels like a small win, and I am obsessed. I'm gonna save the center. I'm gonna save the center for last since it is mostly full coverage, but still, it's so much fun. Makes me want to stitch all of the other holiday or seasonal Quakers that she has, which I probably will. Let's see if I can get that back in here. Alright, our last project I just started Lord, maybe the beginning of June, like June 1st, maybe June 2nd, maybe June 1st. This is Cityscapio or Cityscapio by Needleminder Layer on Etsy. It's just a very pink on pink moment, very cute and whimsy. I am stitching this on a piece of 18 count Rainbow Sherbet from Forbidden Fiber Co. And here we are, stitching 1/1. And I did start it down here first time in like the yellowish area, and I didn't like how the stitches were showing up. So I restarted it up here. Like I picked this out and then restarted it on the lighter end. So maybe we'll work on her again soon since she's still in the hoop, but still a lot of fun. And that was it. I think that's 22 projects. I don't know. I think if it's 20, I'll put the actual number on the screen. So yeah, that's it. All 22-ish of my current cross stitch WIPs. thank you so much for spending this time with me and looking at everything that I have been working on or started, or just everything that I've been doing. I would love to know what piece was your favorite, or if you've stitched any of these projects for yourself. Let me know in the comments. So I'm really hoping to buckle down on those older WIPs that I showed you. So I'll be sharing updates and maybe hopefully a few finishes in the next few months. If you enjoyed this video and want to follow along with my stitching journey, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'd love to have you here. Again, thanks for watching, and until next time, happy stitching. Bye, friends.